Hey guys, thank you for coming back to the channel and keeping up to date on the updates that Sonos pushes out, and I will always update on my channel whenever a new release from Sonos comes out, and this time round is 16.1, and I like to give you the upfront summary because in that way I respect your time. You don't have to stay throughout the video if you don't have the time to. And 16.1 is good to go. You can update. No adverse effects. In fact, it does almost nothing. Now, if you have time to stay around, just go through more details with me and I'll give you the frequency response chart to show you factually why I say it's good to go. If you don't have time, I'll see you the next time round. But before you go, do remember to subscribe because it will cost you nothing. Ring the notification bell so that any updates that Sonos pushes out, you can be sure that I will update you. And I promise you, I'll give you the upfront summary every time there's an update, so that you can just come in and go. That is all you need to do. So Sonos is now back to a regular update cycle. That is on a monthly basis. They skipped January and they came back in February with 16.0. Now March, they have released 16.1 on a Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month. It used to be the third Tuesday of every month, but they're doing it a little bit earlier now. In fact, in February, they did it in the first Tuesday of the month. I believe it was the 6th of February. Now, Sonos is also back to an erroneous update. That is, it just wouldn't complete any update smoothly. Right, so it will go through the update and it will take a long time depending on how many speakers you have. In my setup, I've got like tens of speakers, and it will always show that after a couple of minutes, maybe about 15 minutes or so, that the update is unsuccessful and you have to try it again. So I scroll through and I realized that yes, maybe the Sub Mini wasn't updated. So Sonos is aware of this issue, and on Reddit, Keith from Sonos actually says, don't worry, because it's the same as its own system. They are aware and they will continue to fine-tune this. Now, there are some steps that Sonos goes through when it comes to the update, and basically this is what Keith says. It says that the update is downloaded and is applied to all the speakers. The speakers will then reboot as part of that process. Now, different speakers have different reboot times. Generally, the oldest players, they take longer, not to mention reconnect to the network, right? So controller is then looking for the players as they turn on and they are reconnecting to the network. So this is a step where it says finishing up. So controller keeps waiting until a timer hits and say, hey, there's a problem here. Now, it may have a problem, like in my case here, or sometimes it doesn't have a problem and everything is updated, it just hasn't gotten the response back. So you click try again, or you check later and says no update required. This is because the speakers have now connected after successfully applying the update, and it is now back on the network. Now, a lot of people have responded that, hey, this time around 16.1, the update is smoother and it has completed successfully, shocking some people. So let us know in the comment section down below what your experience has been. Now, like Tesla, for Sonos, you don't just buy the hardware, you buy the software, and over-the-air updates. Over time, things get better and better and features are added, right? Features that you never had when you first bought the speaker, like notably the support for dual sub setup. Now, it also means that a system can potentially get bricked by software, which is why you might want to subscribe to this channel and get the updates here. So turn off auto update until you check out what others like myself have to say on this channel first. Alright, so what has changed? Well, the Sonos Roam is now capable of connecting to a stronger Wi-Fi network node. Wow. So Sonos says that the Roam will now automatically switch to the best available access point when connected to a Wi-Fi network with multiple access points. I use a unified network at home, so there are multiple access points throughout the house. So for the Sonos Roam, it will now connect to the one with a better connection. I thought they should have been doing that all along. Well, if you think about the Sonos Roam use case, it is for outdoor, it is portable. So if you're at home, you have other Sonos speakers, use those. Outdoor Bluetooth on the Sonos Roam, I understand. Wi-Fi connectivity on the Sonos Roam, slightly smaller use case. So this update, this is the so-called new feature which I thought they had all along. This is a new feature that is being brought about. So more importantly, we want to know what happened to the sound. Sonos has a history of fixing one thing and breaking another. Now, a lot of users on this channel has a home theater setup from Sonos, and I want to know if fixing the roaming will break the home theater system for me and for us, for everyone who has a home theater setup. Now, I tested this with the Sonos Arc with one sub Gen 3 this time round. I usually use 2 subs, but I had to redeploy 1 sub, and also a pair of Era 300 as the rear surround. This gives you a 7.1.4 setup. It is not cheap, costing somewhere around US dollars 2,500 and well over 4,000 Singapore dollars. Now, I did change the setup. I removed 1 sub, so I'm redoing all the whole test again. Now, some of you might be wondering what 1 sub sounds like versus 2 subs. Well, let me show you using frequency response chart. This is the only solid physical proof that there is something happening to the sound. Because if you spend the money to get another sub, you might already convince yourself or your wife that things sound better. But if you like spend $1,000 on HDMI cables and think that it gives you better sound and picture quality, it cannot be further from the truth. I've been using Ugreen cables and they are cheap, very well built. Now I'm going to put the QR link somewhere here where you can scan and you buy from Amazon. This is an affiliate link. It helps the channel when you buy from this. Now I'm not just pushing this product because Ugreen is sponsoring me to say this. No, it is not. I use this cable throughout my entire system and all my systems in my home. It is a great cable, right? It is cheap, it is flexible, it is actually very, very well made, and it supports every single standard that you want and you need out of your system. Now, better built cables or more expensive cables upwards of $1,000 is not going to give you any better picture or sound. These cables, depending on the length you need, they definitely cost less than 20 bucks. So it is the cable that I'm going to recommend. Now, if you have working cables and nothing's wrong with your system, you don't actually need to buy this. But if you're going to buy cables anyway, check out these Ugreen HDMI cables. They are very, very good. Now, I've done a review before. I'm going to link it right up here so you can take a look at that review if you need a little bit more details. But if you don't, and if you are convinced already by me using them throughout my entire house for all my testing and listening purposes, then click here or scan the QR code to buy. I'll put the link down in the description below as well. So let me get back to the frequency response chart. Now, first chart, the rate chart. So this rate chart is 16.0. So before I updated the software to 16.1, and it is using a single subwoofer. Now, nothing to talk about unless I compare, right? So I'm going to bring up the cyan chart. Now, the cyan chart, it is actually for a dual sub setup, also on 16.0. So like for like comparison, I'm not going to 16.1 yet. So you'll see that with the dual sub setup, you'll get much better bass response. And at the lower end, at some points, it is up to a difference of 5 decibels. And this could be tuned over the years by Sonos, but this is a lot of improvement for a dual sub setup. Now, it is not that you will miss it if you don't have it, but if you have it, it is a substantial upgrade. But you know, the truth is not everybody needs or want that amount of bass. One subwoofer is pretty powerful and it is good enough already. Now, it also frees up the Arc to do more. So within the 2 to 4 kilohertz range, you'll see that it gets a boost because the Arc doesn't actually have to devote power to the bass and the lower frequencies anymore. So it can actually put the power towards the mid-range. Now, enough of the dual sub setup. What did 16.1 do to the sound signature? Now, let's remove the cyan chart for the dual sub, right? The single sub on 16.0, red curve. The single sub on 16.1, green curve. Now, do you see the difference here? Well, it is negligible. Almost nothing, and potentially even down to measurement errors and differences from run to run. I do many runs and I average and aggregate the runs out into a single average chart, so it should be quite representative of what the changes are. So as you can see, no changes to the sound signature, so 16.1 is good to go. Alright, so that's it for 16.1. This is the outro. I have been actually busy with travel. I've been busy with getting ready for a new car, selling my current car. Well, I'm actually wondering whether I should do a car review. What is this channel for? I don't know. I've been looking at a lot of Sonos stuff. I love tech. I do speaker reviews. I do wireless audio review, and you know, Peter P and people say wireless audiophile. I don't want to claim that name, but you know, this is basically a moniker I use online on this channel. Now, sometimes I do look back on my own videos and I use it for a reference, like a diary to keep track of the things that happening in my life. So, you know, a car is a big thing, especially for people in Singapore. Singapore cars cost a bomb, right? But, you know, I will definitely be busy, but not busy enough for the new product that Sonos is going to drop in the coming months. Now, it is going to drop, and all things point to the Sonos headphones that's going to come. So I will definitely be covering this very, very important product from Sonos. I've made so many videos about Sonos, including coverage of new product launches from Sonos over the years. I get the honor of experiencing some of the latest products from Sonos way before most people, like the Sub Mini, the Era series, the headphones. Oh, well, not yet. Well, even if I'm busy, I will still make time for Sonos videos. So in the meantime, if I don't have anything new to say, check out one of my existing videos where I talk about any of the Sonos products that I have here. And I will see you in one of these videos or when the Sonos headphone launches.